All right, let's do this.
All right.
Season 1, episode 13, Rivalry Week. The big
Right.
games this week, every year
Right.
after Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all our followers, our
Happy
subscribers,
Thanksgiving.
our fans.
Hmm.
Thank you for our family for watching. Um, so let's go. We're here recording on Thanksgiving morning, actually. So we're doing a little work, even on the holiday. Interesting week, Nikki.
That's right. A lot of good games last week. A lot to talk about this week. There's a full slate of games. There's quite a few games this weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to cover. And I'm looking
Lot,
forward to it.
yeah, man. A lot of rivalries. Obviously, the traditional games are still happening. I think with the conference blow up, that may not happen next year, but we will have to see because I think the schedules are in flux, right? I mean,
Yeah.
schedules are moving daily. I mean, or yearly, I should say, because who knows who's going to join the Big Ten next year? Notre Dame's still
Right.
out there in play. North Carolina supposedly is in play to join the Big Ten. So let's get on to it, man.
All right.
Jordan Travis,
Right.
done.
Terrible injury. Yeah.
Yeah, really sad for the kid. He was playing at a high level. Not sure he was a Heisman candidate, but he was definitely leading to an undefeated season, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And a playoff berth, and I think now they're
Right.
done.
Right. I mean, I think they're done. Yeah, they have a quarterback who has experience. I think the guy now beat Louisville last year, so he has played. Um, though maybe they beat Florida on Saturday, and then they're in the ACC championship against, I'm not sure who, maybe
Louisville,
Clemson,
no,
Louisville.
the Ville.
Yeah. So, I mean, they can beat both those teams. We just have to, we'll just have to see how quickly they can get the new guy up to speed.
Well, it's funny you brought that up because that's my upset pick of the week.
All
Florida
right.
over FSU
All
in the
right.
swamp. I think they take them down and kind of put them out of their misery.
Okay, I
But
can see that.
yeah, I
I
can definitely
agree.
see that. Colorado and Dion, it's a nice dream start, right? He got a lot of buzz
Right.
going, sold a lot of
Right.
seats, got a lot of nil money for himself and the players.
Right.
And then it's gone really south quickly, right? One and
Right.
six to finish the season. They got one more game this week. Um, he's got like 2 or 3 NFL players that carry them early on, but you need 10, 20, 30 guys in college football. It's not basketball
Right.
where with 3 guys
Right.
you can win a championship.
Right.
Football, you need 20, 30. You need to be too deep at most spots, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. You need at least 20 top players.
Yeah.
That would be an offense and a defense. Yeah.
And we'll see what recruiting looks like, early signing days in December. And if he loads up, I think the future's pretty bright there. But if the blooms off the rose might be a long because it's not a great job, I don't think. They don't have great high school football there. He's got to go outside the state to get dudes.
Yeah.
And I know he can go to Texas because he played with Dallas and his son went to high school there. If he can go to Texas and California, I think he can load up, but our kid's gonna believe in what he's selling.
Right. And
I
I
don't
guess
know.
people will always think he's going to leave. So then,
Right. That's the other thing, right? The coaches are coaching against you to say that you're leaving for a bigger
right.
gig
Right.
and it's hard.
Right.
By the way, I did want to mention I'm wearing the Georgia sweatshirt today, and I think Bama's the second best team in the country, so I'm wearing them as well.
All right.
I have given Georgia no respect all year. Now they finally have earned my respect.
Right.
I think they go three-peat this year. I'm going to call it right now before even the playoffs start. I think they run the table and
All
win the
right.
championship again. Chip Kelly and UCLA, Nick.
Yeah. So he let's look at the other side of the coin. Lincoln Riley, from USC, and as you
Overrated.
wrote in your notes, Lincoln Riley, not a good coach. Um, you can't you can't go into the tank like they have. I mean, at some
With the
point he's
number
got
one pick, with the number one pick in the
with the
draft.
number one pick. At some point and Caleb Williams is tremendous.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he's fantastic football player.
Yeah.
He's going to have a long career in the NFL, barring injury. I
Yep.
watched that whole game last week. It's like one Caleb Williams against the entire UCLA defense. It's just
But they got
he
receivers and running backs. I mean, they got players all over the place.
right, right,
Defensively, they're just terrible. I mean,
right,
I thought they had players on the defensive side of the ball too, but I guess they don't.
right, right. And
LA's a fun place though. It's hard to stay focused in LA.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, you can have a good
Right,
time there. With
right,
the nil money, you
right,
can really get after it there.
right.
I don't know if he's out. Obviously, I don't think he's out. Lincoln Riley, they got a 10-year commitment to him, but I could see him jumping to the pros because the college fans, they're nasty. The pro fans are kind of like, all right, you suck, get out. The college fans are rabid, man. They're all over the internet just trashing this guy.
Right, right.
And I don't know. I don't know if I mean, I think he's a good offensive mind, obviously,
Yeah,
but maybe not. Maybe not a good CEO. We've talked about this with Loxley too. Maybe a great offensive mind, good recruiter, but not a great CEO of a team. Because you got to be a good coach, you got to have your thumb on everything, the whole team,
right,
right?
right.
You just can't be an offensive mind. So I think he's done. At USC, I think he goes to the pros. If he sticks around, maybe they go 8-4 next year. I mean, the conference will get harder next year. They got to go into some tough places next year in the Big Ten.
Right.
And I mean, not the Pac-12 was weak because they were pretty strong this year, as we've seen. JMU, do they deserve a bowl bid?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think they have a kind of a tough game this week. It's not a gimme game against Coastal Carolina,
Right.
but assuming they win that one, I mean, they're in a tough situation. I think the coach is Signetti at JMU. He's got to get them over this bad loss and get ready for a tough game. It's a fast turnaround. I think they can definitely beat Coastal Carolina, but it's not a gimme.
At Coastal.
Yeah.
And they're 9-point favorites. I think it's going to be a tight game. I do think that he's up for greener pastures after this year. That guy's going to get a job somewhere. I mean, he's a good coach.
Right.
They're a good program, man. I mean, that whole university, their sports is pretty top notch, and they're supposedly putting a bunch of money into it. A couple of my friends' kids go there, and they told me that it's really a fun place to go to school, and the alumni and the parents and the local, it's a college town, are very into it. So I'm happy for them.
Yeah, yeah.
New Mexico State versus Auburn.
Yeah.
The in-season cash game of $1.5 million. Come over. Let us kick your ass before we play Alabama. Oops.
Right. Whoops. Yeah.
Oops. Hugh Freeze had no answers. I saw his press conference after the game. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he had no answers. The reporters were killing him.
Right.
So this is big in the SEC when they have an in-season, not beginning of season, patsy game, in-season cash game to get them ready for their big rivalry game.
Right.
And then they take the L.
Right.
It's a problem, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, New Mexico State, are they any good? I mean, are they good enough? I mean, they've waxed Auburn. 31.
Yeah, I mean, they were heavy underdog. I don't know what happened. I didn't see the game. It was just you saw the score and it was like, oh my God, you started to laugh. Like
25.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Right.
That just goes to show you there's some shady shit going on in college football this year.
Right.
That
right,
should never happen. I mean, they could lose, but it should be a lot closer than 31-10. That's just a beatdown.
right,
31-10 is you have nothing, we're going to smash you.
right.
And then on the coaching front, Dito Sabers out at Cuse. I'm not sure what they want. I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
great job. I mean, it's got a great history, obviously, with great past players, but I thought he was doing a fine job. I would have kept him on, but I guess they think they're better than who they are.
right. Well, I mean, he has been there for 8 years.
Yeah,
It's so it's a long stretch. I don't. Somebody told me that they've lost a lot of players to the transfer portal.
yeah.
Um, so a lot of players that he's developed, and he may. I'm not sure how fired up he was. Whether he wanted to continue there or whether he wanted to, retire or move on, or like you said, it's a tough spot, tough job.
I could see him coming on board as one of Loxley's assistants.
Okay, that'd be good. It'd probably
I
be
could
good for
see
both of
that. He
them.
likes to hire ex-coaches. Um, I mean, I don't know what he brings. I don't know if he's a defensive, offensive mind, but I definitely think like Josh Gaddis is out at Maryland as the offensive coordinator after 1 year. He just underperformed, but we'll see. All right.
Can we talk about Maryland a little bit for a second?
Yeah, man, of course.
I think beat up is too strong a word, but Maryland played tough against Michigan,
They did. I
and
was there. I was at the
I
game.
think they're gonna I think it's gonna impact the game against Ohio State. I don't think Maryland didn't, send guys off on the field on stretchers, but they played hard, and probably the hardest game Michigan's played all year
Yeah, it was.
in November, and I think it's going to impact the game against Ohio State slightly.
Well, I talked to a Michigan huge fan last night at a party, and he said that McCarthy's hurt. That
Oh, okay.
he got hurt in the Penn State game, and then Maryland beat him up a little bit, and he's going to be playing hurt. Which, as we know in college sports, they don't announce the injury report, right? It's
Right.
just like you have to find out at game day. But he said he is playing hurt, so I think you might be right on that. I really liked Michigan in that game, but I am starting to spin it toward Ohio State. I think, man, I think Ohio State will load up the box and make McCarthy beat you because they're pretty good against the run, and I don't see McCarthy doing it.
Right.
But Ohio State's got to fucking do the same thing against Michigan, right? They got to run the
Right.
ball or try to get
Right. Right.
Harrison Jr., who's unbelievable, who I think is the best player in college football. Him and
He is
Jaden
the best
Daniels are
player. He
the
is the
best
best
players.
player, definitely.
Those two. Jaden Daniels is pretty spectacular too.
Right.
So that gets me into the Heisman watch. I mean, you got Daniels, Bo Nix is unbelievable. I think Jalen Milrose should be there. No one's really talking about him at Bama. He's had an unbelievable season.
Right. Right.
And then Harrison Jr., who single-handedly won the Maryland game. I mean, he won another game that was close for them. He won the Notre Dame game as well. I mean, he was unbelievable, unguardable. They were double teamed, and still got open somehow. So who do you like in the Heisman?
I think it's a little different this year because usually by Thanksgiving we know who's going to get it, but this year it's really up for grabs. I kind of agree with you that the best player, I think, not the best, maybe I don't maybe he's the best player, but he's a wild player, is Daniels down at LSU. I mean, he's done everything for them against SEC defenses. Penix is underrated, I think, at Washington. I mean, they played Oregon State in a driving rainstorm last weekend, and he played terrific ball game. What do you think about the Heisman?
I think the thing with Daniels is they're not playing for a championship. So they're not like 10-0, 11-1, or 10-1.
Right.
Penix and Bo Nix are.
Right.
I think that gives him a little advantage. I think Daniels is phenomenal. He's a freak. He's a freak.
Right.
But
He's a
I would,
100% all-out football player.
yeah, I would vote for Harrison Jr. I would go
Right.
a little bit off the rails and vote for him. I think he's the best player in football, college
All
football,
right.
period.
That's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to the games, Nikki.
Okay. All right.
Your picks, you were 9-7. Lovely. Not
Okay.
bad. But one of us is always right around the 500 mark. I mean,
Right.
you had you picked the Florida game. You had a hunch they would play better. They did. They almost won that game against Mizzou. 33-31. You wanted Miami. I talked you off that ledge to Louisville. Louisville won 38-31. Pretty
Right.
handily, actually. And Van Dyke actually played pretty good for Miami that game. I saw the recording of that. But they just don't have enough defensively to stop the Ville. I mean, the Ville
Right.
played pretty well. And then we both liked Michigan to blow Maryland out, but they didn't, man. It was, Maryland played them tough. I mean, I was there. It was back and forth when we had 3 possessions in the fourth quarter with a chance to take the lead, and we just couldn't get over the hump. Their defense is
Right.
out.
Right.
But we were in it. A couple safeties and a defensive touchdown really hurt us. And then the lock of the week makes you 10-3 now. BYU getting.
Well, I got to give you the credit because you were the one who clinched this. I wasn't sure what to do, and you said, Nick, this is the ticket to ride, and it sure was. It was a fantastic pick.
24.5 points.
Yeah.
Oklahoma beats them by 7, barely.
Right. And BYU knocked the Oklahoma quarterback out of the game.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a 10 o'clock start in Provo.
It all was
Sooners
working against them. It was all working against Oklahoma. I mean, they won the game, good for them, but they left there with their lunchbox, right? They left hurting. Penn State, you like them with 20.5. I thought that was a good pick as well. They won 27-6. You liked Appy. You said they would play JMU tough. They ended up winning the game, but I thought it would be a close game. But I thought JMU would win it in the end. So you won that one. So right now, I mean, you're like 6-1 going into the afternoon, and then that's when the wheels came off. I pushed you hard on UNC over Clemson. I know you like Clemson, but I thought UNC would beat them. Clemson was, so UNC was up 7-0, had the ball was running a ball in and fumbled it like at the 1 or 2 yard line. Cost them that touchdown. They got knocked out on a 4th down inside the 5. Cost them that touchdown. They could have been up 21-7 early. They cost those 2 touchdowns, and then Clemson pounced on them. I watched video of that. Clemson was pretty good defensively. Their quarterback isn't very good, but that running back Maffa is an NFL running back. I mean, he's stout. USC, UCLA. That was a win and a loss.
Right.
We liked SC, but you liked the under, which hit. 65.5, 38-20 game. I still can't believe USC lost that game. I mean, I am shocked by that one.
And how badly they played. I mean, it's like
lost to Arizona State.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it, so you saw how badly they played. It was terrible. I mean, how do you lose that game? And then Illinois, Iowa.
Yeah, which brings us to Illinois, Iowa.
It does. You like the over. And once again, 15-13, the under hit.
Right.
Unbelievable, right? I mean,
yeah.
Missed extra point by Iowa at the end of the game. A lot of weird shit happening. There was a lot of weird, and I had some action on that game myself. With Iowa winning and unbelievable.
Yeah.
Georgia, once again, we like that. You said you had no opinion on it. I'm sorry. You had no opinion on that game. I like Georgia. Georgia won big. Texas A&M, UCF, 23-24. Tech is a 2.5 point favorite. UCF scores, misses the extra point. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So I watched some of this. 24-23. Tech gets the ball back, and they're pounding it, getting some first downs. And so if it's a tie game, they're trying to score to win the game, a field goal,
Right.
right? And they
Right.
cover. No,
Right.
no.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Victory
But-
formation. I'm out.
Right.
They
Right.
win, but they don't cover.
Right.
Weird. Okay, that was bizarre. Love Kansas. You love Kansas. They barely lost 31-27. They played K-State tough at home, which I thought they would. You like Wisconsin. You won that. They won 24-17 in overtime. We both like Kentucky over at punk ass in South Carolina, Shane Beamer. And they beat them 17-14.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, South Carolina, they should be a little better than they are. They're that program needs to open up the hood and fix a lot of stuff.
They got a lot of money though. I mean, they're buying players. I mean,
Yeah.
they bought 2 or 3 recruits from the DC area that Maryland was recruiting hard, and they ended up winning the recruiting battle because of cash. So
Right.
he's got an open wallet there to make it happen, but he hasn't done it. And then Iowa State, we like them to play Texas tough. Texas was up like big, right? And then kind of coasted in 26-16.
Yeah, Texas. I mean, I watched a lot of that game. They're a super talented team. I mean,
Oh,
they've
yeah.
got
Yeah.
there's guys making receivers and defensive backs making NFL quality interception.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of the slate, 9-7. Not too bad. I mean,
All
you know,
right, I'll take it. Yeah.
yeah, of course you will. And then one other game we didn't bet on, which I forgot to put on the list, was UW versus Oregon State, and Washington won that 22-20. That was a nice game. I don't know if you saw any of
Right.
that.
I did watch that.
Yeah, they played them tough. I mean, that was a high level game, right? 2 really good teams battling it out. So we got this week, Nick. So I'll let you
Okay.
know. I'm gonna go back to picking the picks. So it doesn't really matter.
Okay. All right. Sounds
You were
good.
9-7. I was 8-7. You know, just the
All
same.
right.
Go ahead, give them to me. Let's go.
All right. Do we care about this game today? Old Miss, Mississippi State, the
Yes.
Egg Bowl.
Yeah. Where is it at?
It's in Stark, Vegas.
Mississippi State. What's the line?
10.5. Oh,
Ooh.
one thing I need to mention, the lines this week are jumping all over the place.
Okay.
Really changing. 10.5 right now.
Mississippi State getting 10.5 at home. Home underdog.
Yes.
I like Ole Miss there.
Okay.
I mean, Mississippi State's a shambles.
Okay.
They're a mess.
All right. Which brings us to tomorrow, to the how low can you go? Over under. Iowa at Nebraska. Nebraska's at home. Nebraska is favored, I guess, because Iowa clinched last week, but the over-under sits at 25.5.
It was 26. Now it's 25. Oh,
Yeah, 25.5.
we always got to bet the over under any Iowa game, okay? Because it's record setting, right? It's
Right.
unprecedented. So I am gonna go with the under again.
Okay. All right.
And I am gonna go with Iowa beating them. I don't think Nebraska's very good. I like Iowa getting the points. I mean, they're the better team.
Okay.
Now they may
Sounds
call
good.
up the dogs as they've already won the West and have no chance to play for a championship, but I don't think Nebraska is good enough to beat them.
Okay. Yeah, Maryland beat Nebraska out in Lincoln.
Yep.
All right, and then you have Miami, Florida at Boston College. Boston College is at home. They're also a 10.5-point underdog. Weather not terrible in Boston tomorrow.
This is the week that Flutie and Miami played, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
In the Orange Bowl, though, in
Right.
1985. No, it was 84.
Yeah.
I am going to take BC there with the 10.5.
Okay.
I think they'll play Miami tough at home.
And this game I'm only going to do because I think it's going to be the pick of the week. We're going to go up to your son's university, Memphis at Temple, and Temple's a 12.5 point underdog. But I think I'm interested in the over under of 63.5. I think this is kind of a sleepy game. I don't think Memphis, they have to, I guess, fly on Thanksgiving. They're flying, I guess, today. I don't know how many people are going to be there. I just don't see more than 63 points being scored.
Do you like the under there?
Yeah. What do you think?
I like that.
Okay.
Temple's terrible. Memphis is actually pretty decent. I
Right.
think they'll beat them. I like a 42-10 game. There's
Okay.
not going to be a lot of people. It's going to be 2,000 people there. That's it.
Right.
All right. So that's the pick of the week.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I like the under there.
Okay. And then sort of a game we touched on a few minutes ago, Texas Tech at Texas. Texas Tech is a 13.5 point underdog. As you said, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, they do what they do. They just pound the ball, play tough defense.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong feeling either way on that game. I'm just mentioning it.
I'm going to take Texas Tech in the 13.5. I don't think they win the game. I think it'll be close. I think Texas is kind of coasting into the
Right.
Big 12 championship game.
Right.
I think they'll win in, a 10-point, 7-point win. And, Texas Tech has a lot to play for here because they're bowl eligible if they win. So they're going to be playing hard here.
Right.
Where Texas is already, I think, in the Big 12 championship game. So maybe they don't play as hard. But with the talent they have, I think they're good enough to win the game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Texas Tech in the point.
Okay. All right. So then this brings us to a game out in East Lansing, Michigan, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Penn State University at Michigan State University, where Michigan State is a 21.5 point underdog.
Oh, my God.
And the game, it will be cold. It will be below freezing.
So another huge home underdog. I like Michigan State there.
All right.
I have been to this game.
Right.
1999.
Right.
It rained from tailgate to fourth quarter nonstop. We had a commercial grade tarp over top of us the whole game.
Right.
Commercial grade and all the rain
Right.
here. It was miserable. It's that cold driving rain that you only get up in Michigan. I wish it would have snowed. It would have been better because it was hovering around like 37 degrees.
Right.
Never cold enough to snow. Had some relatives that we were at their house for Thanksgiving in St. Joe, Michigan, and then went up for the game on Friday, turned around and drove home after the game. It was about a 2-hour drive each way. Nice stadium, good town. I've been there for a basketball game as well. But in the winter, filthy, just gross. I mean, and with the driving rain, if they have that, I'm going to take Michigan State there in a low scoring. What's the over under? Do you know?
42.5.
Yeah. I'm going to do a double bet there. I'm going to do the under and Michigan State.
All right. Okay, and then a pretty good game. Two ranked teams. The Civil War up in Oregon. It's at Oregon in Eugene. Oregon State at Oregon. Oregon is favored by 13.5. Over under 61.5. I don't know if this series is going to continue. I think probably it will in some fashion. I don't know, both teams, 13.5 seems like a lot. Well, I don't have a strong opinion on the game either way.
I'm going to take Oregon there at
Okay.
home, and I think I think Bo Nix is trying to win a Heisman Trophy, and
Oh, good. That's a good angle. That's a good call. I
I
like
think
it.
they're going to go hard at Oregon State, who's battered from that UW game. I mean, that U Washington game was a physical beatdown game. I mean, DJ, their quarterback at Oregon State, got knocked around in that game pretty hard.
That's good work, Fernando.
So I like Oregon State. They're at 13.5.
All right.
Laying the number. It's a big number too, by the way.
Okay. Okay. So this brings us to Rivalry Saturday, one of the best days of the sports calendar,
Yes.
starting off at noon with Ohio State at Michigan. In Ann Arbor, number 2 versus number 3. Michigan's a 3.5 point favorite, over under 45.5.
I've been back and forth on this. I'm gonna take the Ohio State University in this game with the 3.5. I think it'll be a close game. It'll be tight. But I do think McCarthy being hurt is a big problem for them for
Right.
Michigan. And not having Harbaugh, I think the football karma gods are gonna sting them right here. I think this is
Okay.
gonna be the
Let's
game
hope so.
where it bites them in the butt. I
Right.
really do, man. I think Ohio State. I would actually take Ohio State on the money line here. Forget the 3.5. I think they beat them outright.
Okay.
They really don't have an answer for Marvin Harrison Jr., man. And all their running backs are now healthy. That whole stable of running backs they have at Ohio State. I think they're going to try to pound the rock.
Yeah, Henderson. You said back in September he's the top player.
Yeah, he's tough. I think they beat him outright. I mean, they haven't beat him in what, 3 years, right? I think Michigan's won.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I think it's time for them to even up that rivalry a little bit. They win the game.
All right. All right. So then we go from
and that's the game of the week, by the way, obviously. And the
yeah.
road trip of the week as well, which is Ann Arbor, Michigan, is spectacular. Great college town. Really, everything revolves around the university there. It's very, very fancy, very nice. It's a nice college town. About a half hour from Detroit, close to everything, to a major city, obviously. Good bars, good restaurants. I've been there for 3 football games. Never been for a basketball game. We went, me, you, and Sammy.
Right.
It was a Notre Dame game I think we went for, right?
That's right. You got it.
Yeah.
That's
That was fun. That was a fun weekend, man. Ended up in Cleveland on the back end of that trip.
right.
Watching the last season in Memorial Stadium, right in Cleveland.
It's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend, if you have the cash, because it's going to be expensive for a ticket, to go to that game. I know some of my friends' kids go there, and I think they're going. But I'm going to pick Ohio State. I've been back and forth all week, though. Let's go with the
All
Bucs.
right. Do we care about the Texas at A&M Aggies at LSU game?
No.
Okay. All right. So then that brings, you're right. All eyes are going to be on Ohio State, Michigan, which brings us to the 3:30 games, which is Alabama, Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Auburn's at home. They're a 14.5 point underdog. It's pretty high number for the Iron Bowl, but I mean,
I agree, man. That line started at 10, though.
yeah,
14.5. Holy shit.
yeah.
I thought about this game and thinking Auburn's going to show up, but after what they did to New Mexico,
Right.
I think this could be an Iron Bowl where the winning team just waxes the other team. I think Bama beats them badly and embarrasses Auburn, and I think
Okay. All right.
Hugh Freeze may be in trouble if he gets embarrassed.
He could be. I agree.
Yeah, I like Bama there to trounce them, because Bama knows there's like blood in the water. And Nick Saban, nobody trounces more when there's blood in the water than Nick Saban.
Right.
I mean, maybe Brian Kelly, Nick Saban's right up there.
Right. Okay, then this is a good game. I don't know if it's televised. We touched on it. James Madison at Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is an 8.5 point underdog, home underdog.
A lot of home underdogs
Um,
this week, huh?
yeah,
Coastal Carolina. 8.5.
yeah.
I'm gonna take Coastal in the number. I
All
think
right,
JMU's a little beat up from the Appy game.
all right. Yeah,
JMU may win the game, but I think Coastal's gonna play them tough at home.
right.
They have a really good following as well, kind of like James Madison. So I'm gonna take them.
All right. I'm not sure what to make of this game because I think both teams are pretty beat up. Maryland played Michigan last week. Rutgers played Penn State. Maryland's favored by 1.5 at Rutgers. Maybe it's just a game you just take a pass on because you don't. It's a game where both teams are beat to hell.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Maryland there to go into
Okay.
Rutgers and get the road win. I
Okay.
think Rutgers is a little more beat up than Maryland is, and I know Penn State's a physical team.
Right.
They did a number on them, and coming off of that game, who they play the week before that? Iowa, right? They got beat up there,
Right.
and they're both bowl eligible already. Maryland's trying to get a
Right.
better bowl than the Weed Eater Poulan Weed Eater Bowl,
Right. Right.
the Mayo Bowl, or some trash bowl. They like to get to the Music City Bowl as their kind of their goal in Nashville. They think that a lot of fans will show up to that, but it's looking like they're going to go out west to some trash bowl. So they beat Rutgers to have a little bit more leg to stand. Another road win. I think Loxley at this point is safe for his job as well. I think he's coming back
All right.
next
Well,
year.
that's good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Then you have Washington, the Apple Cup in Washington, Washington State at Washington. The Huskies are favored by 16.5. The over-under is really high, 67.5. No, looks good weather-wise, no rain in the forecast.
What's the spread?
16.5.
They just renewed this rivalry. Did you see that?
Oh, okay.
This
I
is
did
going to
not.
keep going on for like 7
Okay.
more years or something. So I'm happy to see that. I'm going to take Washington State there,
Okay.
and I'm going
I
to
think
take
that's a good pick.
and I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
Once again, Penix, I think, was playing for the Heisman, and they want to go undefeated, run the table. So I think they play tough. I think Washington State's pretty good, man. They play hard.
Yeah.
They lack some talent, but they do play hard.
Right.
And this is a rivalry game with two decent teams. I mean, they're not like Auburn, Washington State. They're better than that.
Right. Right.
Right? I mean, Auburn's
Right.
pretty much toast.
Right.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Then, excuse me. The night game, the 7:30 game, Georgia at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Georgia Tech is a 24.5 point underdog. Line seems like a lot, but
You think so? I'm gonna take
yeah,
Georgia, man. They're
okay,
just trouncing people.
right,
I mean, trouncing Tennessee in Knoxville, right? I mean,
right,
trouncing them. Missouri comes in, they beat Missouri, they didn't trounce them. That's been their toughest game, Mizzou, right? It's the
yep,
only game that's been really tough for them. I
right,
think they beat Tech pretty handily, and then they got to play Bama. And that'll be an
right,
interesting game the following week.
right.
All right.
Okay, then this game's only interesting because I'm not sure what the status of Mac Brown is. North Carolina at NC State. He's had a long career. I don't know whether he's going to call it quits after this year.
What's the spread like? What's the number?
North Carolina favored by 2.5 points.
Wow, NC State's not favored at home.
No.
Wow, as bad as they looked last week, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have the stones to pick UNC again and have them
Okay.
disappoint me. So I'm gonna take NC State. They're getting 2.5. And I don't know about Mac Brown and if he does leave because I know he's getting up in age and recruiting now is it's a young man's game, man. Not only you're not just recruiting and selling the program, but you got to have the cash. There's all kinds of things that go into recruiting that I don't think Mac Brown wants to deal with. Um, but I think that's a pretty good job, actually, UNC.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could win there. The ACC is not so strong that you can't win. They have big boosters with big pockets. They are a basketball school, but I think you can win at UNC. I think that's a good job. I think somebody I mean, I could see the JMU coach going there if he leaves. So
Okay.
is that it? That
And
everything?
what's that?
Is that all the games?
One more. 10:30 at night on the East Coast, California at UCLA. UCLA favored by 9.5. I think the angle here is how pissed is California about ending this. I don't know if it's a rivalry, a huge rivalry, but
Yeah.
I don't know if this game is going to happen going forward. Um, and whether Cal wants to take out some of their frustration on the Bruins.
I think
And you
they
never know
do.
what you're going to get with the Bruins.
I think they do. And I like Cal the 9.5.
All right.
I like Cal to
Uh,
play them tough, man. I
all
think
right.
UCLA may squeak it out, but because their defense is pretty strong. Cal's pretty good,
Right.
man. I mean, they're battling through it, but I like Cal to win that game.
All right. And
Um,
let's see. That's it as far as games go. I think we've covered everything else.
yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, there's some other games that are floating around, but those were the main ones. Have you been to Eugene for a game?
I have
The
not been
Gene?
to Eugene for a game. I've been to Eugene a couple of times, but not for a game. It's a nice town.
Can you give us a little synopsis of that town if you want
Yeah.
to take a road
Okay.
trip to the
So
West Coast?
it's about 100 miles south of Portland. You can fly into Portland and drive south, or the Eugene airport is getting bigger and there's more direct flights to it now. Um, it's it's an it's an it was where Animal House was filmed, so everyone will
That,
know it
that should tell you
by
something.
yeah by that. Um, it rains a lot during the winter from November to March, but the summers are spectacular. There's not much humidity. It's nice. I liked it. I could definitely live there.
Oh,
As
nice.
far as going to a game, I definitely do it. I've been to a game at Corvallis, which is where Oregon State is, just down the road, and that was also nice.
Oh,
And
good. Okay.
it's not too far from the beach, so you can. I mean, it's not like a beach with swimming and all, but you
Yeah.
can 50 miles. You can go out and stay on the water, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I went to Bandon Dunes and golf there.
All right,
We flew into Eugene, but we just flew in and then drove down to Bandon. Um,
right,
Weather's horrible, but it's beautiful. And it's not a
right,
beach. You can't go
right,
in sun when it's 55
right,
and overcast.
right,
But we had a good time of it there in Bandon. One of our memorable trips, actually, to Bandon.
right,
I like the state. It's a freewheeling state, though. People will just light up a joint in the middle of the road, in a
right,
bar, outside a bar. I mean, no one gives a shit. It was wild there. And
right.
this was 2013 when we were there, and people were getting after it in 13. I could imagine what it's like now.
Yeah,
But good. Yeah, it's a fun state. I mean, I definitely. Well, with Maryland coming into, with Oregon coming to the Big Ten, we definitely Maryland plays them there next year. And Yato's daughter went to school there, so we're planning a road trip with the wives, me, Yato, and Jennifer and Shelly to go to that game. So
all right. Sounds
I'm looking
good.
forward to that, man. That should be fun. And um, and I'm thinking about going to Rutgers this weekend. You want to join us?
Sure. Yeah,
Seriously.
sure. Yeah,
I mean, you're just like a train stop. You just take the train down, right?
yeah. Or you can just drive.
What is it, an hour for you?
Yeah, it's not far. Hour and a half, maybe.
So we're thinking about leaving Saturday morning around 8 a.m. to go to the game. I'll let you know by tomorrow what the final is, but I think we are going to go. Me, Joe, and Jimmy.
Okay.
So if you want to meet us there, I'm going to reach out to Maryland to make sure we have some tickets waiting for us. And if they can secure tickets, I mean, I don't think tickets are a problem, but if we get them free from Maryland and sit with all the Maryland people, that would be better, right? I mean,
Yeah, but it's yeah, like you said, tickets won't be a problem.
yeah. So I'm gonna bring a TV so we can watch Ohio State, Michigan, in the parking lot. We plan on leaving here at 8 a.m. on Saturday and making a day
Okay.
trip. We're gonna turn around and come back that night after the game.
Okay.
So
Good plan.
yeah, I think so, man. I mean, I haven't been on a road trip this year for football. I missed a couple of my buddies' trips. So I got to get the one road game, it's an
Oh yeah,
addiction.
you got to do it. Just check the box, right?
Yeah, the road. And next week I'm going to Indiana, Maryland basketball at Bloomington for the
Oh,
first time.
sweet.
I've never been
Nice.
there for a game. I've been to Bloomington, but I'll be there next Friday night at the game.
All right.
So basketball is heating up, as you know. Teams are showing up. It's getting going, man. I don't know when we're going to transition fully to basketball because I think next week we have all the playoff games, right?
Right.
For the conference championships, and then the bowl games start. We got to think about what we're going to do about the bowl games. We're going to emphasize them because they're usually kind of exhibitions, right? No one really gives a shit. But college basketball is humming right now. I mean, it's starting
Right.
to get going. All the holiday tournaments are going on. That Purdue team's pretty good, and they're pretty loaded.
Yeah.
I kind of like them to win it all this year. I think they've never won a national championship there.
That's right. No, yeah.
Had a lot of talent on that. They've had a lot of talent over the years, right? It's a good program. So we'll have to start transitioning the basketball here soon. But
All right. Well, we're
maybe,
ready. Yeah.
yeah, it may be like a dual show of basketball and football because you got the bowl games and then you have the playoffs. But come January 8th, I think is the last football game. Then we're full basketball at that point.
All right.
All right.
All
All
right.
right, Nikki. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your
Happy
family,
Thanksgiving to
man.
you, everyone.
Thanks
Okay.
for making it work today on short notice and also on
Well,
Thanksgiving Day.
thanks for giving me the extra time.
Yeah, no, I needed it too. All right, man.
All right, brother.
Bye bye.
All right. Take care. See ya.